Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
The single best idea, and all I can tell you is 2025 starts overwhelming. I mean, all sorts of conversations and real strong opinions, some positive, some negative, across economics, finance, investment, international relations crowding in as well. A lot of jokes and ha-ha-ha today about Greenland. But you know what? It's sort of serious. I learned more about Greenland in the last 4 hours than I've learned in 40 years. And thanks to our team for that, for briefing us out. I did not know that Nuuk, Greenland, on the west coast, sort of down by the tip. I think you wave at it when you're going LHR to JFK, but if you're on the right side of the plane. But, you know, it's closer to New York than Copenhagen. I didn't know that. So, you know, there's some surprises out there as well. There is no surprise that Geoffrey Yu at BNY is the kind of person that can give you an holistic view. And one of the shadows that's out there is, given the correlations now, and particularly dynamics in currencies, are their shadows back to 1998. Geoff Yu of BNY.
98 is not going to happen. Let's look at the Indonesian rupiah, right? So at the forefront of what happened in 98, right now they are self-financed, right? So they've got enough in terms of sufficient savings. It was a very popular trade the last 2 or 3 years. They're back to being a commodity currency, selling nickel. They have more than a fifth of the world's nickel, for example. In terms of the renminbi, there is active management right now. More important in terms of quote-unquote break, I need to see an upside break in yields in China. The 2-year Chinese government bond could converge with a 2-year Japanese government bond soon, right? So let's just think about that, what that signifies in terms of the economic outlook for China. Japan's 65 basis points right now, Chinese 2-year going through 1%. So I think all of that points to a need for a push for reflation in China. And that's where 150 in the 10-year China, that could go up by 100 basis points.
We went on to talk about the politics of Beijing and how they affect a policy to advance Geoff Yu's theory that they've got to really flood the system with support to boost and sustain consumption. Fascinating interview. You can see that in entirety. We continued with Mr. Yu. And, of course, with Geoff Yu, you want to talk about the path forward. Again, Geoff Yu of BNY.
It's about your contribution to your risk-adjusted returns, right? So if on a risk-adjusted basis, you can make a case for alternatives and also subject to your duration for your IRAs and for your ISAs here with long enough a time horizon, the old endowment profiles with my old wealth management hat on, that is sufficient. You need sufficient allocations into alternatives, and of which private markets is a key part of that right now. So there will be regulatory adjustments, and I think the rest of the world, in the UK, Europe, they're looking to the US to see how this goes from here. So this is here to stay, but subject to contribution of risk. And it's not going to be steady. So tracking errors and also Sharpe ratios, they go up and down. So subject to what people need at this point, their liquidity lockups, the maturities of their profiles, there will always be a role for alternatives. And now the total definition of alternatives has changed. So I see the US leading the way in this for many, many years to come.
Geoff Yu with BNY. I really can't say enough about my radar up on this. I just don't understand the due diligence for individuals in private equity and private credit in your IRA. We advance this conversation later in the show today with Randy Schrimmer of Churchill Asset Management on private credit. He was, as you'd gather, plus about private credit, expanding their audience over to individuals. We expand our audience each and every day on Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Yes, I researched today. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are not in Greenland. I learned that today. I thought maybe Apple CarPlay would be there for 50,000 people, 20,000 in Nuuk, Greenland, but no, it's not. We're also in Washington, 99.1 FM, in a congestion tax, New York City, Bloomberg 1130 AM. 92.9 FM in Boston, and on YouTube and at YouTube Podcasts. This is Single Best Idea.